You appear to be nervous. I suppose I only have myself to blame for that. Despite my disgraced position, you probably assume you're in some kind of trouble being called here like this. It's a reasonable assumption. Logical. But it's far from the reality. The reason that I've called you here today, it's difficult to explain. I've never had the need to worry over something like this, nor have I had the ability to. However, I assume that when I begin explaining things to you, you might believe that I've come undone. You might believe that, after everything that has happened to me, I've finally lost my mind. I can assure you, though, I have never felt quite like this before. I have never felt quite so sure of something, quite so in my mind, that it feels like I'm seeing everything clearly for the first time in my life. But I need to explain this fully, so have a seat. I asked you to have a seat. There will be plenty of time for questions after this, but for now I need you to listen, and listen well. For the longest time, I couldn't understand most people. I couldn't understand the way certain people reacted to certain things. I didn't understand why they acted illogically or irrationally. But that changed as I got older. I began asking questions because I just couldn't understand. And when you can't understand something, you ask a question. That is the logical next step. So I began asking questions, and I got answers. I couldn't understand why people didn't react using reason. I couldn't understand what else could possibly be driving their actions. But then it was explained to me. They were reacting based off of emotion, based off of hormones and what I could only describe as animal instinct. They were reacting based off of things that they felt. Not that they felt through their nerves or their skin, but what they felt in their mind, in their hearts, I suppose, though it has little to do with the actual heart. And I soon learned that the reason I couldn't understand these reactions, it wasn't just because they were illogical. Apparently, emotions are meant to be illogical. They're meant to make you lose track of all reasoning and logic, which seems like a rather critical evolutionary flaw, but I digress. They were reacting illogically, which is normal for most people. Most people. As my sister and I were soon informed, though, we're not like most people. I'm certain you have noticed that I often act coldly toward others. I show very little warmth, ironically. I disregard the emotions of others entirely. It makes me appear callous. And I'm certain you've noticed that my sister, Azula, oftentimes it seems that she takes pleasure in seeing others suffer. Truth be told, there's very little that we can take pleasure from at all. She simply does it because she has no regard for others' feelings. She has no care for whether it's right or wrong. Frankly, I don't either. However, I know, based on reason and logic, based on the law that exists, based on rules that exist within society, that it is wrong. So I refrain from doing such things. However, I am still like my father in the sense that I do not see any room for others' emotions. They're illogical. They cloud one's judgment. They have no place in a war zone. They have no place anywhere. That is my honest opinion, at the very least. However, unlike my father, logic and reasoning are things that I adhere to strictly. I use logic. I reason. I think critically, because that's all I can do. And he still doesn't like that. That is why I ended up with this burn on my face. I interjected. I spoke out of turn in order to provide a rational suggestion during a meeting. He saw that as a sign of disrespect, and granted it was. However, he ignored my suggestion entirely. And instead of simply reprimanding me, he decided to put me in my place completely. The agony I felt that day was unlike anything I had experienced before. It was physical. It was brutal. It was the only thing that I could truly feel. In truth, had I been capable of expressing gratitude, I probably would have been grateful for it. But that wasn't the case. Once I had healed, my father informed me that I was a disgrace, that I had cast dishonor on his name and on my own. And so, logically, all I could do was attempt to restore my honor. So I left home in search of the Avatar. The journey itself was nothing short of insufferable. Dead ends at every turn. Obstacles I couldn't have expected. Yet in the end, I was able to come back here. I was allowed to return home once more. And I found that things had changed. New faces appeared, ones I didn't recognize. And something else had changed too. When I first saw you, I suppose the only term that fits this description would be enamored. I was utterly enamored with you. From the moment I saw you, I felt different. I felt. You were kind to me. You showed me no disrespect. You showed me no malice, despite what I had done. The way you looked at me, I'd seen it only once before. My mother used to look at me like that. I could never quite understand it. She looked at me and it was a kind look, loving, gentle. That's how I've learned to describe it. You looked at me that same way, with kindness and tenderness in your eyes. You helped me without question when I was readjusting to life here. You were sweet. You made no attempts to mock me or disrespect me. You acted as if I was your equal, as if you and I were acquaintances or friends. I still don't quite understand what it is that I feel for you. However, I've been doing research, and I believe I might have found an explanation for all of this. For people like myself, others can oftentimes be triggers for emotion. You seem to be such a trigger. And what I feel for you, it makes my stomach tingle. It makes my heart rate increase dramatically. My face becomes flushed and and my tongue struggles to convey the words that I want to speak to you. I'm certain you've noticed that. Yes. In all my research, there is only one explanation for these feelings, for these physical reactions. The emotion, or rather emotions, tied to these physical reactions are lust, infatuation, obsession, and love. The closest, I believe, to describing what I feel for you are infatuation and love. I realize that this must sound incredibly strange to you. After all, you are a servant. I am 10 times over your superior. It is forbidden in every sense of what it is. What I feel for you. It would bring shame down upon me. And for you, if you were to feel the same, it would be entirely out of your reach. However, the way that I love you, the way that I care for you, it is all-consuming. I can't even begin to get it out of my mind. I don't think I even want to. This feeling that you give me, every feeling that you give me, it's exciting and new and I want more of it. I crave more of it, and I finally can. I can finally want more of that, and I do. And my father wishes for me to fear him. He wishes for me to fall in line like an obedient child, and logic and reasoning aren't very helpful for that. He wants me to tremble in my boots when I stand in front of him. He wants to believe that he holds power over me. And if I have you, he will. When I even think about you, if I'm near my father, my blood runs cold. I begin shaking and I can't explain it. Ice water runs down my back and I realize it's dread. It is a primal sense of fear, one that leads me to believe he wouldn't hesitate to kill me. Because he wouldn't. That is what he wants, and you are what I want. For once, our interests are aligned perfectly. It may be against the rules. However, I don't see that being much of an issue. After all, should I break the rules again, he has another chance to make an example of me. He has another chance to show that he can strike fear into my heart for the rest of my life, and he will. But I won't care. Because at the end of it all, I will have you. I will have you, and you will make me feel so good. So safe and loved and cared for. If you're willing, that is. I can't promise that it will lead to a better life for you. I can't promise that you'll always be happy with it. But what I can promise you is that I will do whatever you ask of me. I will do absolutely anything you want, so long as I get to have you. So long as I get to feel this way. You can make any demand of me, any request. And being who I am, I have quite a bit of pull. I'm certain that if you wished for protection or luxury and comfort for your family, I could provide that. I can give you anything that you want. If you can give me what I want. You